A garden with neglect, it thrives, even without us. Good morning, welcome back. It has been a while. I feel like I just have not picked up the camera in a long time, but we are out in the garden, and today I'm giving you what is probably our last garden tour for the year 2023. So it is October 1st, 2023, and it is a beautiful fall day, 80 degrees here in Minnesota. I don't know what's with the weather, but it sounds like it's going to be getting cold this week. So we're going to try to do a big harvest, picking a lot of things out of the garden so that we can clean it up a bit. You can tell our cucumbers are certainly coming to the end. So I'm picking all of the cucumbers that are reasonably sized. I'll leave the others and try to finish picking them up this week. But for the most part, cucumber plants are done. They're ready to go. And this red Malabar spinach, it's just outrageous how well this has done. I'm curious as it gets colder if it's as hardy in the cold as it is in the heat. And I wonder if the leaves themselves won't be quite as bitter. Is that the right word? But we noticed the smaller leaves usually are fine. Today we got the pigs right behind the garden again. So it's nice to have them back. They might be a little loud. Chickens are in this area. The boys came out here, picked all the gourds, and they got a garbage pail full, which is just crazy because those are gourds we didn't plant. That's just thanks to our piggies, all the ones they planted. So awesome. Well, I'm out here. The boys are busy working on their fort. Little kids are playing somewhere, and Matt's up in the garage working on his projects. This is my most neglected year in my garden, so I am a little self-conscious about how everything looks, but really I have been very blessed with how these tomatoes are doing. They're still coming in. We still have a ton of green tomatoes. I will make some salsa verde with it or some enchilada sauce with it, so it won't go to waste. But I'm gonna try to get all these red ones picked today. We do have some that are starting to split. We've had a lot of rain, so I think they definitely got overwatered and then not getting picked quite as much as they should have. Some that are falling down in the ground here. So lots of tomatoes, probably volunteer next year as well. And then we have all these volunteer plants here on the ground that these never even got staked up. See all those tomatoes in there? I mean, it's just kind of crazy. So many tomatoes. So let's get these picked. All right, with everything this summer, it's fall now, but with everything this summer, I feel like we've had so many commitments and things going on. So I started this video at 10 a.m., took a little break, switched cameras. Now it's 5 p.m., just a little break. Let's finish picking some tomatoes. My goodness, I don't even think I'm making a dent. plus side, it got so much nicer out right now. It's a full 90 degrees. Oh, it's so hot. So it's crazy to think, here we are in October already. It's very common that we get snow here in Minnesota in October, and I'm still harvesting so much from the garden. In fact, I know a lot of people who they close up their garden much sooner. They're cleaning stuff out for Labor Day even around here, and I just can't envision doing that because of all the potential you could lose. Granted, could we get an early first frost date? For sure. I don't even know what ours is expected to be, but I'll put it around here somewhere, and it'll be here before we know it. So like I said, I am going to harvest kind of all the ready things that aren't I can grab out at the last minute and still use in some way. So I'm asking for a friend, but is there any way to tell the volunteer tomato plants that pop up in your garden if they're going to be small cherry tomatoes or a smaller variety or big variety? You guys know? I don't think I can tell the difference. I'm wondering if there is an actual way I can, because I have a feeling my friend's husband does not want so many cherry tomatoes next year. But it was really nice having all these volunteer plants come up when our tomatoes didn't do so great. And it got me to thinking I wouldn't have to start so many tomato plants if I just depended on some of those. Oh my gosh. So I'm being really picky with my tomatoes right now. If they've got, let's see if I grabbed any. Oh, any with like, any of them with a little split, I'm tossing to the pigs. They're loving it. It's giving them some food. We're gonna have more than enough tomatoes. So one thing in our garden that is doing really well, which is surprising the heck out of me, is our green beans. I never got a second planting in. This is still our first planting of green beans. And I thought they were getting to the point where they were too big. And I told the kids, just leave them here, dry them out, we're gonna have seed. But so many of our green beans look like this. Maybe a little bit bigger than normal, but not gigantic. And they're not drying out. So I don't think we're gonna get a lot of seed. Some of the plants have a little bit dried out, but instead I think we're gonna be picking a lot of green beans this week. In the interest of time, I'm not gonna pick them tonight because this is, you know, a whole probably hour or two project, and I just don't have the time. So God bless you. I'll probably have the kids come out here tomorrow or the next day and get these picked before it gets cold. Our peppers were off to such a slow start, but these plants have just blown up. Definitely slow start. We have the first one turning red, and we're not going to give it much more time. So a lot of green peppers. We've come out to the garden when we wanted them for cooking and just grabbed some, but lots of green bell peppers. So I will probably, God bless you again. Oh, it was tiny. I think it was brownie before. I will probably come out here and get some more when I'm ready to take care of them. But they are really big, doing great, and we've got more than I expected. You guys probably remember better than I do, because I know I planted my jalapenos in one spot and my jalapenos in another, but I can't remember which is which. I would think that these ones planted by my green bell peppers are jalapenos, because I would normally not plant a hot pepper by the sweeter peppers, but we'll see. So we got a lot of these on the plants as well too. Our zucchini did pretty well this year, considering I don't think I've picked a zucchini in 2 months. So it does look like we got powdery mildew, but honestly this is a lack of care. So the gray, I think it was a gray variety of zucchini we planted. This one's already, see how long it's been on there? It's already yellow. I hate it. I think it's disgusting. I think it tastes like squash. I don't think zucchini tastes like squash. I realize the irony there. I don't think I'll plant it again, but the pigs have been loving it and the chickens, so that's fine. Now the typical zucchini that you plant, I think, is it just dark? I can't remember. Black Beauty. They are doing well. I've probably got a dozen or so on the plant, and they're mostly about this size. Some are a little bit smaller. Now, I'm not opposed to the large zucchini for baking. So what I'll do is I will take the seeds out of these and then I'll puree it. I don't actually shred it. I puree it and use it for zucchini bread, but it also goes really well in soup and different things like that. I find that it has the same texture of using applesauce, and you can use applesauce in place of oil in your cooking. So I will, or baking, I will do that sometimes, and just knowing that there's no sweet in it. So it'll still get used. I don't toss these to my pigs and chickens because we'll eat them at some point. And like I said, I think it's been a month or two since I've picked zucchini, and those are still sitting on my kitchen counter perfectly fine. They last forever in the garden. They last forever on the counter. So it's one of those things that I'm like, I think I will always grow zucchini, but not those great ones. All right, I planted some other hot peppers, and I thought these were Tabasco, but they don't look like it to me, and this is the first one turning red. So I'm gonna leave them for now. I'm expecting I'll be picking them green. Now, the only reason I really want hot peppers is because I have a child who loves hot sauce, and her and I, we would love to make some homemade hot sauce. So one of these years, we're gonna get some decent hot peppers. We did it a few years back, and I powdered them all and have just a seasoning, which is awesome too, but I would love to have some hot sauce we could make with those. I have not yet pulled out our celery. I did come out and pull a few as we needed them this summer when we're making egg salad, potato salad, and things like that. And I found that I was using the smaller parts of the stem and leaves more than anything. But something really interesting happened that makes sense, but I really hadn't thought about it, is some of our older celery from last year that came back up went to seed. And I came out and I harvested some of this celery seed, and let me fix this here, sorry. I harvested some of this celery seed, and you know what? I tend to use a lot more celery seed in my cooking than you would think. Some people I know are different, but it tastes so good. And I think I will grow celery for celery seed, like really good. Delicious. So I've harvested some for that, which has really been nice. Something I wish I had harvested sooner is our black-eyed peas. I pulled one out a few weeks ago. It was great, and then we had just rain upon rain upon rain, and I'm talking one night I think we had 5 inches, and then we had more the next day. So we've had a lot of rain. So now that we've had these hot 90-degree days and we're going to be in a cold front, I think this is my best chance to be harvesting these black-eyed peas and still have them looking all right. Now I originally harvested, or I wanted to grow them to eat them because I've never eaten them before. Let's see if I can open this without breaking or spilling it too much. But I'm expecting them to taste kind of like a dried bean would once they're dried out. But if nothing else, if I can harvest some of these and they're dry enough, I could use them to plant more next year. Of course, we want to try them and see if we like them first. Let's see. You guys probably know some trick to harvesting this so you don't spill them all over the ground. We might have some volunteer black-eyed peas next year too. They're really pretty though. I was not sure about these kidney beans. Those pods look like they are moldy. They look absolutely wonderful. Look at that. That's awesome. Especially from seed that I think I bought 4 years ago, maybe 5. So we'll have to get all of these harvested. We did have some tomatillos come up on their own. I don't think I'll be doing anything with those. We planted some a few years back, and every time I cooked them, I tried the boiling them, I tried the baking them, tried everything. I would get such a stomach ache, and I found it so strange because I don't get it when I buy the stuff from the store. So I just kind of gave up on them and decided that I would just use green tomatoes from now on when I wanted something of that variety. Well, that is about it for what's going on in the garden here at the end of the season, and I am really hopeful that we'll be back out here again to kind of show you guys some cleanup and what's going on. And I don't even know if I mentioned it. I don't know if we did a video on it. We've just been pretty busy, but our apple tree up front, we got a good harvest off of this year. I think it was around 2-3 dozen apples, And then we still have some in the fridge, so they're lasting well. And then our apple tree in our garden produced for the first time ever. Unfortunately, the hornets got those couple apples before we could, and some of them had a little bit of damage. Nothing that I'm too worried about. As of now, we don't spray or do anything to our fruit trees because we haven't found the need to, and I really want to keep things as clean as possible when I can. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I know a lot of you have been asking what's going on in our greenhouse, and to be completely honest, I don't know. No, we have been in there a little bit. Our carrots still in, haven't pulled them. Some have gone to seed, some are looking great. So I'm thinking at this point, we didn't pull them to plant something else. So we might as well leave them for a nice cold sweet carrot. So some of them, hopefully that will work out. A lot of our greens in there, we ate what we could. A lot kind of fizzled out when it got really hot. And we didn't get a new batch planted. So this winter we won't likely be having any greens in the greenhouse unless we change something up in there. And then our onions that I planted in there, I will never do again. Our onions are exactly the same size as the day we planted them. So will I pull them out? I don't know, but they haven't done anything. They haven't grown at all. Now, we still did make that comfrey tea. I did not use it in my garden this year. I did not use it up there. I figured it'll still be good next year. It just might stink a little more. But I guess we could put it in the greenhouse. We haven't made a lot of decisions, and just frankly being busy, we haven't done as much out here as I wish we would have. But we're making it work. Nonetheless, a garden with neglect, it thrives, even without us. Which in some ways is really awesome, and in other ways is kind of sad that I didn't put a ton of effort into it, and yet still here it is. So I guess God has a far bigger plan. I hope you enjoyed this video, and glad you got to see me again. Bye!